What's up, guys? It's the new time slot for the Calvin and Jimmy show here. I'm a bit out of it tonight, so I'm not going to go crazy late. And Jimmy's heater's trying to kill him, but we'll see how long we make it.
Yeah, my heater started throwing smoke off. I don't know if you can see the smoke in here or not, but it's all hazy. I had the door open. I just had to close it because it's getting too cold.
We've already got Rover, Wellbot, and Aaron in here.
Aaron is in the house. In the hizzle. How you doing, Wellbot?
Man.
I hope you're feeling better, my friend.
Did that. I mean, if you guys didn't see, poor Wellbot effectively died and came back to life at least twice in the hospital. So we're glad you're still here, dude. That is freaky.
And Nancy's in the house. Hello, Nancy. How you doing?
How's it going?
Once again, hello, Rover. Well, 3 people in here. That's all we need, right?
I think it'll pick up. I think also being that we're not at our usual time slot, we're going to have some dip in viewership. But like I said, not my choice that it had to go this way, but who gives a crap?
Because Calvin can't figure out what days he wants to stream. He always wants to stream on a different day. He treats our streams like his underwear. He changes it any given day. No particular day, just any given day.
Oh gosh, that is so wrong.
It is. Our poor viewers. These people right here are the rock that this place is built on, man.
They are seriously the OGs. I swear, if we ever have the C-Dub meetup thing and it happens, I swear, Wellbot, Rover, Aunt Nancy, and Aaron are getting like the big old OG badges. So everybody knows they're like the OGs who showed up for like almost every single stream. Okay, Rick too, but he's not here tonight. So
Wellbot says not every day either. You're correct, not every day. I can vouch for that. I've not never mind. I was gonna say I can not.
Mr. I live in the hazy chapel right now.
Yeah, it's all hazy up in here. If it smells like a skunk, everybody think there's something else going on over here.
Oh gosh.
But unfortunately, it smells like unburnt kerosene.
Oh man. Oh hey, Rick's in here. What's up, dude?
Hey Rick, how you doing? Now the party can get started.
Yeah, I got another OG in here. So before we go any further, for all you guys who have been following the GoPro Light Ring on the Twitterverse, here you go. This is the updated and probably final version of it in all of its glory. So there's a few more modifications that need to make to this, but this is effectively where I'm going to call it quits on this. But it's really nice. Works really good. The only problem is the size of the light ring that I run means that I can't easily access the power button right there, but it comes on and off easy enough, so it's not the end of the world.
Turn it on. Let's see it.
Let me get my power cord.
You mean you got to carry a power cord with you when you go to use it?
I need to work on making it.
RIP headphone users.
Eventually, I'm going to work on making a battery-operated one, but for the moment, I'm just making it corded. Oh, yeah, that's bright. Oh, yeah.
Well, that's much brighter. I think you're going to have to dim that down a little bit. That's way too bright.
I bought a dimmer off Amazon, but that gives you guys an idea of just how bright it is, and I have it an arm's length away from me, and it is blindingly bright.
Did you get it in white LEDs, or are they the warm LEDs?
I think this is just like regular white LEDs.
Dude.
Yeah, they're like angel halo lights for a car. So I'll post a link to them with my Amazon affiliate in the bottom, and yeah, it's totally creepy.
That's too bright, man. Too bright.
I also bought a dimmer as well that I can put in line, so that's definitely getting used.
Yeah, I think you got some LEDs are a little too bright.
Well, hey, I'll put it this way. If I need to light up a large space outside, they'd work really well for that.
More like, oh, look, I just detached my retina because I just looked into the sun too long.
Oh, gosh.
Man. So, tell me all about it. Well, let's see. Yeah, that would make for a pretty interesting interview.
With what?
Exactly. Trying to block all that light.
Trying to block my shine?
You wore your sunglasses when you started with that, didn't you?
No.
What are you going to do? You going to go night diving with that or what?
No, the thing is, because space is pretty tight in my room here, I just decided that it wasn't worth it at this point to bring up my giant filming light. So I just left that at home. I'm like, you know what? If I really need it, I can get it over spring break. But I've always wanted to make up a ring light for filming with, because I know that they're really popular with cell phones and whatnot. So Ashley at Chip Builds actually wanted to make a ring light for her cell phone, and I ordered up a couple of these guys, and that's where it got all started. But this is still too bright for a cell phone. But then I got to thinking, hey, I got this. I can just stick it on my GoPro, and that would actually work really good for filming. So that's how this whole thing got started.
Could you wire in some resistors or something to tone it down?
No, if you look in the description, I grabbed in the chat, I grabbed a dimmer that I can put in line with it so I can turn the light output down. But I haven't picked it up yet from my mailbox. I'll do that tomorrow. So that is the LEDs on full 12-volt power, and they get bright.
Yeah. That's way too bright. So what are you going to use for a battery pack?
What I'll probably end up doing is just the same thing that I did with the monitor. I'll just get a small 2-cell. I'll just use one of my small 2-cell 7.4 volt lithium batteries, and then run it through a step-up converter, take it to 12 volts on the output side, and then that will let me run it on battery in the field if I want to. Ideally, I more or less want to run it off wall wart power, but it does give me that functionality if I need to. I can run it off the 12 volts. So we'll get there when we get there. But the main thing is right now just working on something you can use at home. And then in a later episode, I'll go into the whole electronics of doing it the other way. Because I know some people are really keen on electronics, some people are not. So I'm trying to just keep it as simplistic as I can to start out with. You get this, you get this, you get this, you stick it together, light comes on. This great guy named Greg just showed up in the chat.
Oh, man. Greg is here. Hey, did I ever tell you Greg is great?
No, I don't think I've ever heard you uttering that line, and every single time Greg jumps up in the chat.
Greg is the great one. You got to remember that. Greg is great.
Uh-huh. Did you see what Wellbot said?
Snap run. Oh, man.
Oh, gosh. So do you have any good projects running around right now?
Trying to figure out these layer lines. I think I might have figured out why I got layer lines. I was a bad person. I was actually going to reslice the model. I actually did reslice the model at 0.2 layer height to see if that makes a difference. Then I decided to go ahead and try a third one to see if what I fixed might fix the problem. I got a feeling that's what it was. So I took and I printed this Moon City, which, by the way, I broke. Right there, it's a little not feeling so well right now. So printed this, and on the back side of it, look at those layer lines. Just sucks. I'm like, why in the world is it doing that? Okay, well, I've just printed this great big dragon. It more than likely wore out the nozzle. I'll go and put a new nozzle on it. Got the new nozzle on it. Printed this one. Looks great. Till you turn it around, and there's the same layer lines. So $14.99 nozzle didn't make any difference. So just about 5 minutes before it went live, I'm over here looking at the printer. And I'm like, what in the world is it? The belts are all tight. I didn't notice any bent lead screws, which wouldn't matter because it's got the tracks and it's got the wheels and the tracks. And then I'm like, wait a minute. I take hold of that bar that goes across there for the x-axis, and it wiggles. I'm like, no. So every time I did a Z-hop, it came back down. It came down to a different position. Plus, it was tilted back because it's drooped. So I tightened up the eccentric nuts on the wheels. You can just see it go. As soon as I tighten them, you can just see it go like that. So I've got a third one printing right now back at the 0.1 layer height, and I'm going to see how it looks. And I hope I have enough filament. If I don't, oh well.
Proof, I mean, like we were saying right before the stream, it's an easy fix, but it's kind of a bummer that on a machine that expensive, they didn't even think to, double check the eccentric nuts before they shipped it.
It could have happened in shipping because once again, you do put the gantry onto the printer. It's something I should have checked. It's something that could have loosened up over time, I guess. My bad. So I tightened it up, re-leveled the bed, which it took one complete turn on each one of the nuts to get the bed raised back up because that's how far that had drooped. Which means it probably was like that since day one because I haven't had to level the bed until just then. Well, I take it back. I had to level the bed when I changed the nozzle. And that was the only other time I changed that I had to level the bed.
Like this great guy named Greg is saying, it's kind of ridiculous that you have an issue with the print and you overlook so many things and the smallest thing can cause a huge difference. Yes.
Yep. Hello, Bob. How you doing? Thank you for joining.
We got Bob and Mr. Carroll Science popping in as well. This is lit.
My video quality is looking great right now. New camera or something? No, it's just everything's smoky in here from my heater. Decided that wanted to smoke everything up in here, so I got that smoky look going on right now.
It also helps that I'm using my cell phone through T-Mobile as a mobile hotspot because the Xfinity Wi-Fi out here can be kind of dodgy at best. And I found that if I'm streaming and I use my cell phone, I get much faster service. So that might also be why.
Yeah, but mine broadcasts directly to YouTube because we go through Hangouts. So it's like it takes your signal, takes my signal, puts them together at YouTube headquarters, and then it poops it out the other end to everybody else.
Something like that,
Now, if we were using OBS, then it would be a phone call to you, and then yours would have to be taken care of. Not only the phone incoming Skype call, but then you'd be sending your signal. All that would be going to YouTube, and then it'd be pooped out.
Yeah. So do you guys want to see my D20 dice holder thing that I'm still trying to work on a little bit, figuring it out with the A10M on the mixing function?
Sure.
Oh, it's cool. So what I did is I printed the roof or the top piece in just straight AMZ transparent blue. So this is just 100% blue. And then for the top part, I did that in AMZ natural. And then in this part, it did a blend from 100% blue to 100% white. And there's a little bit of bleed over because the height was a little bit higher on that one. But when you put it together, it actually looks really neat because you got the really solid blue at the bottom along with the transitional blue in the middle. And then you got the frosty clear at the top. So it almost looks like an iceberg in the water or something like that.
That's cool. I just need
So
pop an LED in it.
that'd be pretty cool. Technically, this is designed to be held together with magnets in the lid and the body, and then you put your gaming pieces inside, but that is a thought. And then the other cool thing is, do I have it available? No, I don't. I also got a whole bunch of protopasta samples in the other day that I bought, so I can do some cool transition prints with the little dice prisons that I've been printing for Ashley. So the idea is we're going to sell them as like limited run items, and I'm also going to use them on camera to show the mixing function for different prints, like pink to purple or purple to pink and green to blue and blue to green, you know, that sort of stuff to really show what the machine is capable of. So that should be pretty fun as well.
Yeah, that should be good.
Yeah, because normally, I'll be honest, I'm still like 50-50 on the mixing function. I mean, it's cool, it can do things like that, but like Chris said in his video, the problem with it is really what you get is one color on one side and another color on the other. So it's not like true mixing. I noticed with like transparent filaments, you can get away with it a lot easier. On translucent filaments, it doesn't look as good. So I am going to address that in the video, that it's not perfect, but I mean, you can still do some neat stuff with it. So it's kind of like take it or leave it.
Mr. Karastein's got a UFO box today.
Oh, nice. Those I'm definitely glad to see somebody's coming out with a good subscription box thing, because MakerBox was cool for a while there, but it was kind of like for what they were charging and what you were initially getting, it was just kind of like, no, not worth it.
So Greg is saying that they are getting rid of Google Plus. That's got good points and it's got bad points. As much integrating as they did with it, once they pull Google Plus out, that's going to cause some problems, I think.
I do too.
Does that mean they're going to get rid of Hangouts? Because isn't that part of Google Plus?
I don't think they will, because I know Hangouts is like a huge thing that a lot of people use. So I don't think they would do that, but we never know.
Then we would have to go to OBS. Ugh.
That would suck.
Ugh. I don't want to
Hi.
Huh?
Then you get this going on. You have like that horrible lag between the audio and what was actually spoken with the video.
If we have to do that, I'm going to act like I'm doing a Godzilla movie or something. Get to the mountain! Quick! Here comes Godzilla!
Oh my gosh.
I was going to ask.
Although it is annoying that they did get rid of.
What does UFO stand for?
I don't know.
Can't be an unidentified flying object. Awesome box.
I will say though, getting rid of
what?
I was gonna say getting rid of the built-in automatic post to Twitter function is really, really annoying with YouTube right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because it's not like you can just do the old, once you've made the video and when it goes live, it auto tweets it. You have to go in there now and manually do it. And it's just like me kind of annoyed. I mean, it is what it is, but it's just, it's annoying is what it is.
Unidentified filament order. There we go. That's what it stands for.
That makes some sense now.
So how's school?
It's going. I'm still annoyed about the whole day mix-up thing with the class, but there's not much I can do about that. But I was definitely talking to other people, and they were saying how this semester, and these people who've been at the school for a while were saying that this semester was like the worst for getting into classes. And I'm like, great, glad I'm not alone. So I don't know. It is what it is. I mean, we're kind of starting to settle into the second week, but I'm really starting to figure out who I like and dislike in some of my classes. And that's not a good thing if I already have my like and dislike list by the second class. I mean, the third.
I don't like you. I don't like you. I don't like you. I can just see you as that Britney Spears one. You're cool.
And normally I'm not that kind of a person, but I can definitely tell in a class who's gonna probably be the problematic people and who are probably going to be the people who are decent. So that's more what I mean in terms of, because it's hard for me because I don't mind helping out people with stuff, but I also definitely mind when people start to abuse my kindness and abuse my skills because they're too lazy to learn how to do something. That's where I draw the line. So
yeah, he has a really hot blonde come up to him, just dressed to the hilt, and says, "Hi, Calvin. Get away from me, you slut."
Hey, didn't say it wouldn't happen. But no, I mean, there's already some people who just, by the way that they're acting when the instructor's talking, and they're literally just like on their cell phone the whole time, or literally falling asleep in the front row. I'm just like, no, we don't do that. Calvin, not impressed. Oh, that's cool. Mr. Carroll Science says it's unidentified filament objects. It's a filament sample, a bench tool, and a project. This month, it's a lithopane with remote control LED panel. Nice. That's cool.
That would be cool. I gotta figure out my next thing to solder. I gotta come up with another soldering project here pretty soon.
Better think of it. Better think it up quick because I'll probably be down there in 2 weeks.
Oh.
What resistor is this? Which resistor is that?
Maybe I need to see about ordering a dead MacBook or reflow it. We'll have to order some Antec Flux and some Gootwick from store.rosmagroup.com.
Thanks for stealing my thunder there, Teresa.
Huh?
Thanks for stealing my thunder there, Teresa.
Where's Teresa at?
I don't know.
I feel neglected. Oh, you know what? He's probably streaming. So she's probably over there modding it.
Probably. Mr. Carroll Science says Facebook
hunk
group.
Of man, you vegan hunk of man. I thought he ate burritos. What are they, like lettuce burritos or what?
I don't know. So Mr. Carroll Science is saying
burritos.
So Mr. Carroll Science is saying, Facebook group guy, I bet I could put solder through my extruder and 3D print metal.
I'll bet somebody's tried it.
More like, let me solder my whole hot end together.
And then they'd put a thing on there. Help. I don't understand why this isn't working.
I mean, you'd have to have a really hot end because your average 60-40 tin lead solder melts it. Well, actually, take that back. You could actually do it with a conventional hot end. I mean, your 60-40 solder melts at about 190 degrees C, which really isn't that hard to hit. But not exactly a smart idea either.
Yeah, I haven't seen her on Twitter either. Not you mention it.
So Mr. Carol Science said he did it. Drip solder. That's it. Here for a tutorial on clipping your 3D, clipping off your nozzle for 3D printing solder. I think you're better off 3D printing with a MIG welder at that point.
I am still trying to figure that out, by the way. I'm still trying to figure out if a person would unknowingly take your nippers and actually clip off the end of a brass nozzle by accident, because you wouldn't be clipping the filament loose because it's hot. You'd be just dragging it away.
I mean, I could see how you wouldn't exactly take as big of a hunk as Chris did in the video, but I could see how if you have but I could see how you could actually damage the tip of the nozzle pretty easily if you weren't careful. I mean, you could create here's what could have honestly happened is when he was cutting it, he could have actually just created enough of a burr that hung down that it was actually dragging in the hot filament as it came out of the nozzle, and that could have caused the issues.
Hey, Greg, thank you for joining. You have a great night, my friend.
See you later, Greg.
By the way, did I ever tell you that Greg is great?
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
Yeah, TK, I tend to use a paper towel. I usually heat the nozzle up to about 180 to 200 C and then just quickly wipe it off using that if it really needs it.
I usually just grab hold of it and just pull it off with my fingers. I don't grab the nozzle. I grab the filament.
We're talking
before, but good thing about having calluses, it doesn't do a whole lot.
We're talking more of that black buildup that you get on the nozzle from burnt filament over time.
Yeah.
Not like, oh, look, I had a big old wad of filament get burnt on there. So
I'm looking to see if I see any lines yet. I think I do. Maybe I just need to go to 0.2 layer height and see what happens.
I would. One sec, the Ultimaker's extruder is randomly bumping, so I need to go take a peek on that real quick.
It's an Ultimaker. It's not supposed to be popping. Ultimakers don't pop. You have a knockoff Ultimaker if it's popping. Ultimakers are too expensive to fill.
Print seems to be going okay, but I am running old Maker Geeks filament, so that could be the problem.
Yeah, what's funny is on the Dragon, I don't see layer lines, but you know what? I did print at 0.2 layer height, didn't I? That's probably what it is. That's probably what it is.
So do we want to talk about the whole Simplify 3D update controversy that everybody's losing their crap over?
Oh, you mean the fact that $150 wasn't enough for a lifetime subscription to all the updates that you could ever have on a program, and that's how they promoted it to everybody, and now suddenly they want to take it all back and they want to start charging. How much is it for an update, by the way?
They never said.
Oh, they didn't. So it could be another $150. So it could be a $300 slicer. No, thank you. I'll stick with Cura.
Okay, I'm gonna play devil's advocate here for about 30 seconds. It isn't free to get, software developers and things like that to write code for something, but at the same time, I do agree it is a little bit ridiculous at the same time. I mean, the fact that they aren't even giving a pricing, they aren't even saying what features, okay. That whole thing just it could be a $5 price of admission, but let's put it this way: after the failure that was like 4.0/4.1.1, not too keen on it.
Okay, I bought my video editing software. Okay. It was what? Power Director 14. Now they're probably like Power Director 20 or something like that. Okay. When I bought it, it was a deal of you're buying Power Director 14. Yeah, there will be an occasional emergency update or something like that if there's a patch that needs to be put in. But that's it. If you want to go to the 15, they gave you a discount. If you now at this point, it's been so long, there's no discount. I'd be paying for a whole new Power Director if I did that. Okay. But at no time did they ever say, oh, if you buy this, you're guaranteed updates for life. They don't do that because in the future, they know good and well they're not going to take them. Their business model doesn't work if it's just a one-time fee. That makes no sense at all. I can even see, okay, well, you're guaranteed updates for the next 5 years. Okay. But a business model that's based off of, oh, yeah, you pay $150 this one time and you get lifetime updates. And then all of a sudden they go, except for this update's going to cost you. I can go into more analogies, but I won't because you know how I am. It'll involve hookers and all that kind of stuff, so I won't go there.
But no, it's a totally fair point, though. I mean, the whole thing is, it's like that's why, as much as I don't like it, you see a lot of services now switching to be subscription based. Like for my Photoshop and Illustrator class, I have to have a $20 a month through Adobe student package for Illustrator, Photoshop. At least I get access to like all their stuff for $20 a month, but it's still not very fun having to spend $20 a month. I mean, and honestly, when I'm done with the class, if I don't find myself using the stuff, I'm just going to cancel the subscription because by the time I'm done with the semester, on top of the like $25 lab fee I had to pay for the class, I will have shelled out $60 to $80 in subscription fees just to use the software for the class. And I'm just like, no, I'm good. So unless I'm really raking in the dough through doing that, I'm canceling it.
I've got to ask you, what, when you bought Simplify 3D, when you purchased it, what was the reason why you purchased it?
Okay, the reason why I purchased it was a long, long time ago, back on my 3D Hubs printing days. I was doing this massive print that I swear 3/4 of the print was support material and about 1/4 of it was actual print. I mean, it was that detailed. And a while before that, Angus was actually nice enough to slice up a model for me because I was curious about Simplify 3D. Like, well, is it, all that great and whatnot? Everybody goes, oh, supports is so great in it. I had some luck with supports in Cura, but I still could not get it to where I could get the print to peel off cleanly and have a decent surface. Just wasn't working. So he was nice enough to do a print for me in Simplify 3D, threw it on the Ultimaker, and it worked. I was like, wow, that's really cool. But then I was kind of like, well, whatever. And then I was like, you know what? The heck with it. And then I just put it on the back burner. But then I started getting a lot more prints in that were really support intensive, and sitting there forever to clean supports off and putting out a decent quality product just was not happening. So when that order came through, I actually went ahead and bought Simplify 3D under the guise that they say, well, if you don't like it within the first month, you can get a refund. So I'm like, you know what? If I use it, I hate it. Before the month is over, I'll just ask for a refund and I'll go back to Cura. No big deal. But it actually worked so well with the supports on that and the ability to custom add and remove supports, which you could not do in Cura at the time, is the reason why I got Simplify 3D. And then once I started to learn how to use it, it just became my native slicer. I mean, Cura is fine. I use it for slicing parts for the Moai pretty often, but at the same time, I mean, the supports is that, and the UI is something that I have a hard time with in Cura, because the problem is with Cura, the amount of settings that are in there gets just to the level of ridiculousness that when you're trying to hunt for coasting or wipe, there's like 10 sub things below that. And I'm like, I just want wipe. I just want coast. I don't need 500 other settings. And it gets to the point where it's almost like, okay, really, guys, can we just have an intermediate area that's just like the core things for retraction and the core things for temperature? And also the other thing that's still frustrating with Cura that a lot of people have an issue with, especially on the A10, M, because it's a mixing head, is the fact that you literally now have to manually go in there right now and like do a find and replace for a certain M code in there regarding heating up and cooling down the idle nozzle, because that function isn't really easily accessible in Cura. So for that reason, I still use Simplify 3D. And like I've always said, I've more than earned my $150 back from purchasing it, even if I didn't do 3D hubs, just in terms of frustration and time and supports and things like that saved. But at the same time, I do agree. I mean, Simplify 3D used to be like the cutting edge of slicing technology. Like it was the gold standard back in the day. And I think the problem is I knew it was eventually going to happen. Everything else would catch up in its own way. And I'm not surprised it happens, but you know, oh well.
So here's my thing. For $150, what printer can you buy right now?
Let me think. $150. You couldn't get an A10 because that's about 200. I mean, you could get what?
$50 more, you got an A10.
Yeah, $50 more, you got an A10.
You can get a Select Mini version 2.
Yeah, and probably have enough left over for
somewhere in there.
Filament.
Yeah, I mean, $150 goes a long way for purchasing a 3D printer now. Now, back when 3D printers were $1,000 or more, yeah, okay, so $150, okay. But now with the low price printers, $150 for slicing software is a little bit ridiculous.
Yeah, gotta remember, I spent over $2,500 for my Ultimaker 2. So let me do the math on that really fast. But that's like
Ender 2. Ender 2 you can get for $150. Or if you really want to live life on the edge, you can always get an ANET A8.
So $150 out of 150 into 2,500. That's 6%. So I only spent 6% of my Ultimaker's price to get Simplify 3D. So in the grand scheme of things, $150 in that realm, yeah, that's a fair bit of filament. But still, when you contrasted the two back in the day, it really wasn't that much in comparison.
Half the price of a VR headset. So with me, with Cura, okay, when it comes to supports, there was a time when I was like, oh, Cura is just horrible on supports. I believed it, you know. I am a fan of Maker's Muse. I saw the very video that he was referring to the other day. I watched that video and I'm like, I still can't bring myself to spend $150. I can't do it. At that time, I didn't have any kind of money like that. Even till now, I still, if you told me I need to spend $150 right now on software, I couldn't do it. I just can't do it. But there also comes a point where it's like, even if I could, I don't want to, because it just seems ridiculous. So I go into Cura and I'm looking at the settings and I'm like, well, what if I play with this number? What if I play with that number? And I came to the realization, if I have it at 0.9 millimeters away from the sides, if I have a 0.3 millimeter or 0.4 millimeter distance between top and bottom whatevers, that it gives it enough cooling to where the supports pull right out. You don't have them where they're fused. And even Angus had mentioned that whenever he did a shootout between the slicers, he didn't spend the time on Cura to set those settings. He went by what the default settings were, which at that time Simplify had the best default settings that way. Cura is set for using in Ultimakers. They didn't really intend for it in the very beginning to be used with other printers, but slowly but surely everybody's like, hey, this works. Why should we spend $150? And it works better than Slicer or Slice 3R or Slick 3R or whatever you want to call that one. When I originally started 3D printing, that's the one I used. There were things about it I liked. But at the end, you get to the point where you need more settings. And that's where Cura came in.
Yeah, the funny thing is, though, it was actually really simple for me to set up Simplify 3D to run my Thingomatic, which runs .x3g files, which is the funky format MakerBot used, the binary type. I could more easily set that up in in Simplify 3D than I could Cura. So it's the only reason why I did that. But yeah, I'm with you on it. I think Simplify 3D's time has come and it has gone. And you know what? That's that. But I mean, really now I feel like Slashes have hit their peak and now we're reaching everything else.
They could make it a viable product. They still could. Lower the price to $50, $49.99. That would make it more attainable to more people. When you set a premium price on something, you're going to get a premium audience. That's all you're going to get. People are not going to take and skimp on their 3D printer in order to buy a slicer, because a slicer, where it is the bread and butter of 3D printing, it still comes down to the machine. That's what it all boils down to.
Oh, for sure. I mean, things are what they are at the end of the day, but yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like
car driver behind the steering wheel of a Yugo, he ain't going to win no race.
But did you ever see the episode of Top Gear where they had German race car driver Sabine Schmidt driving in a Ford Transit van around the Nuremberg Ring on open track day when any old Yahoo can spend the money and go run around the course? That one is like Top Gear gold. I love that one.
Oh, goodness.
So I saw your buddies over at the Denny's were curious about my non-existence.
Yeah. And then we went to go there last night, and they're remodeling. They got the whole place tore all apart.
Oh, come on. Hopefully they'll have it done.
Nothing. So now I'm starving for the next 2 weeks. Nah, I'm joking. Okay, I got a Denny's right up the road here. I just hate that one, so I don't go there. Like even last night, we went to go to the Denny's. It was closed up, so we ended up going to Wiener Schnitzel. Because I told her, so we can always go over to the other Denny's, and she's like, "Eh." I said, "Yeah, I know. Let's go over here to Wiener Schnitzel."
Yeah, I haven't been to the other.
Know about Wiener Schnitzel? You're missing out. It's the best hot dogs, chili cheese fries that you will ever taste. There's something in the chili. I'm pretty sure it's probably crack cocaine that they put inside there, but it's something that keeps you coming back.
The funny thing is I was going to have Wiener Schnitzel for the first time a couple weeks ago when I was down in West Covina with Ashley. And then we were going to go there, and literally there was like a line of cars like around the building, and Taco Bell was like a stone's throw away. Nobody was over there. So we're like, Taco Bell it is.
Yeah, see, the thing is, if you have Simplify 3D, I don't begrudge you a bit for using it. I mean, it is a very good product. It's just the price of it. That's the part that for me has always been the sticking point.
Yeah, I'm with Bob and TK. Bob's saying I'm a Simplify 3D guy. Having to use Cura as I get my A20M up and running has been a pain. Having to make temp changes in like 5 places. Need to get Simplify 3D set up with Octoprint. Yeah, that's the thing I love. And you know what? I'll screen show you guys in a second what the UI of Simplify 3D looks like. So for those of you who have never played with it, you can get an idea of what makes it so convenient in a way.
Okay, I just got permission to share something with you guys. Now, I've been in talks with this company for some time, and they asked if they could use one of my videos for their new projects coming out. Now that you're mentioning Octoprint, that's a very interesting caveat into this. Let's see. I copy that. Let me see if I can find this one. I don't want to take and type it all in here, so I'm just going to go over to YouTube. Let's see if I can find her stream. Yeah, there's right. Calvin's face. There he is, right there.
Who's that ugly fellow?
Oh, God, no, I'm fat. Oh. Okay, you guys get a chance to check this out. So there's some of the prints that they're using in the video where it detects, and it's the coolest thing I've seen yet. Is you use it with Octoprint, and it'll detect when it sees spaghetti. And when it sees it, it will actually pause your print, send you a text message or email so that you can look at your video to find out, do I want to continue it or do I want to stop it? It's a pretty good idea.
That is pretty clever, I got to admit. Okay, so let me show you guys the UI for Simplify 3D so you'll understand what I like about it. Okay, so here we are in Simplify 3D. You know what? I'll call up the A10M one because it's dual extrusion, so you guys can see why it's nice. Already on the extruder page, I can already select extruder 1 or extruder 2. I can add more of them. I've already got all my retraction settings visible. I can set my nozzle diameter, my extrusion multiplier, and the extrusion width, which is handy. I can jump to the layers tab, and I can independently set the layer heights for both extruders. I got the layers. I've got all the different settings. I can do skirts, prime pillars, ooze shields, rafts, the infill, which style you want. They don't have the gyroid, but oh well, it's not that big of a deal. If your pattern is rectilinear or concentric, if you want to print a solid diaphragm, all your infill settings, your support settings, base layers, combining support. This is the cool part is you can tell it, I want, say you're doing PLA and PVA for the main body. If you're using extruder 1, you can tell it to do that. And then for the interface, you can tell it to do that as well. All your support settings. I'm running removable support, so I've got my offset set to 0 at the moment. Your temperatures, you can set temperature points really easily. What I'll do sometimes is near the end of a print, if I know it's going to have to slow down. It's
the fact that Wellbot's getting ready to leave. Have a good night, Wellbot. Thank you for joining me.
I already said bye to him in the chat.
Did you? Oh, okay.
Yeah. So then you can set all.
By the way, we can't see anything that you're doing. All we have is a picture on the screen. It's not moving or anything.
Screw you, Hangouts.
All it was just a picture.
Oh, right. Hangouts likes to be a pain. I forgot. Let me try one more time. Okay. And tell me if... Come on, screen share. Get in here.
Have a good night.
No, it doesn't want to show it up. Okay, well, let's just put it this way. The UI in Simplify 3D is a lot easier, in my opinion, to work with. But is it worth the $150? That's up to you.
Not for me. If I was doing like industrial type stuff to where I needed that kind of level of quality, maybe. I make YouTube videos.
like I said,
I don't
back
care about the print quality that much. I mean, if I was doing like models where I'm going to take it, I'm going to paint them all up, and I'm going to finish them, and I'm going to make a living at it, maybe. But I make Groots.
The one thing I will say though is, mind you, I got this back in the peak of me doing prints for hire on 3D Hub. So this was back in the day. So yeah.
See, once again, you're doing it for a living.
Oh,
and
for sure.
How long did it take you to make back the $150?
When I got done with that print job, I made back the $150.
There you go.
Yeah.
How long would it take me to make back that $150?
A lot longer.
Never would happen. If I want to figure a YouTube ad revenue, maybe in 2 or 3 months, I might get back my $150. But
that elusive ad money that I really want. Thanks, YouTube.
Well, you're lucky that you're not stuck up too much on Patreon. I just paid out my $14 for the month.
Whoop whoop! I think I paid
that's above what I'm receiving from Patreon.
I I think I lost like $1.50, $1.70 this month because I'm supporting a couple of people, but oh well.
Yeah. Patreon, I do it mainly to support other people.
Ditto.
I was hoping that at one point I could make enough for filament, but it all kind of washes out, I think. And
Yeah,
it's
and
pretty much geared that way, I believe. You have your 1%ers that do really, really good on there.
well, one thing that when I was talking to Tamara, who worked on the Mythbusters Junior, like she had the really good idea. Why not consider having an upper tier where you offer things like this one's semi-completed, but why not offer like some of your laser cut kits or something as a higher tier level? And I've thought about doing that. I just haven't had enough time to make it so I know that I could come out with a unique thing every month. But it is something I've thought about for maybe like a $10 or $20 tier level. If anybody is interested, they do receive something back. So it's something I have thought about, and it's something I need to work on, but it is a thought that has gone through my mind.
How much of our audience is not in the United States?
A lot.
Okay. The shipping is what you take what you actually get from Patreon, and you look at that. And you look at how much sending one product overseas would cost. And you're paying out way more than what you're seeing coming in.
No, yeah, and I'm talking. This would be strictly USA only, and we'll see if it even.
You're sticking it to the people who are your backbone. You know, you feel bad about, okay, I'm going to make this in the United States only, but 3/4 of the people supporting me are not in the United States. So I've just essentially said.
No, that's totally fair, and I do need to work on getting some of these things up on like Etsy and things like that. It's just I'm trying to refine them and try and get the locomotive project with Scott to the point where we can just start cranking parts out on our own, so I don't have to focus on that. But we'll figure it out. But I definitely want to get. I mean, this one is the building that I was showing you guys on Twitter earlier. This is, it's a little bit hard to see because of the crappy lighting, but this is actually paper that's embossed and printed to look like brick and stone. And it actually looks pretty realistic from a short distance away. These are commercially available windows. This is just strip plastic. This is just painted laser cut wood. And the building itself is also made from laser cut wood. So I'm going to 3D print a door for the front here because it's going to be an enclosed building probably. Fit a couple of my little Moai 3D printed lanterns in there, light it up, and then find some space for it on my mining module. It'll look sick.
Yeah.
I'm thinking eventually I'm going to dig up some of my old files for some 3D printed shop equipment, like a lathe and a few things like that, and stick that in there and make it like a little maintenance shop.
Like River says, if I do anything along that line, support me, it would be send me Amazon gift cards. Honestly, Amazon gift cards are probably one of the greatest gifts you could ever give anybody because you can buy absolutely anything with it. And if you have Amazon Prime, you get free 2-day shipping.
2-day shipping. I put that in quotes because sometimes they've been slack and sometimes they've been getting things like way faster. Like when I was down in Southern California, oh my gosh, there were things that would literally show up the next day that weren't like you'd order something on a Friday and they say come on a Monday and it shows up like Saturday morning at 7 in the morning and you're like,
have you noticed that it's getting a little bit faster now?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think it also helps that they have a huge hub down in LA, and my parents only live about an hour or two outside of LA. So,
you know why ours is getting a little bit faster?
They put in a huge hub in Salinas.
No, they have a huge hub up in San Jose.
Ooh.
They just put one up in San Jose, and they just put one, I think, over by Tracy. So we're getting a lot more Amazon warehouses a lot closer to us now.
That's good because before it was like literally 3 or 4 days to get stuff to you.
Yeah.
That was annoying. Yeah, TK, I had thought about putting more paper inside, but I quite literally ran out. And I also just wanted to kind of simulate like they'd put some stucco or something on the inside. But yeah, that is an option. This building, I'm no pun intended, building this building off camera So that way, when I go ahead and do a video on the buildings in a couple of weeks, I can have something to show for using an external product. I'm going to do another one where I just have the laser cut wood on the outside, but I'm going to put some little vertical boards, like it's board and batten siding, to kind of fake that. So I'm trying to, show people various ways that they can take effectively what's just some laser cut wood and turn it into anything they want. Because the idea is I want to be able to sell these buildings for about $10 a piece for the small ones. They're actually just going to have like the window little shapes cut into them. They're not going to have the ability to drop in windows, but the window sizes are standard. So you can just come along and trim out the little existing windows and drop your own if you want to. But I want to offer something that's a good like rainy day project for parents and kids, or modelers who just want to screw around with something cheaper, kind of just try and break into the lower cost market that way. So we'll see, but I think it'll work.
Cool. Well, my friend, it is 9:25 p.m. Do you want to call it, or do you want to keep going?
I say we call it. I'm crashing fast, and I don't have to get up super early for class tomorrow, but I got to take care of some things off camera. So
I'm going to kill this print, and I'm going to try slicing it at 0.2 layer height and see if it does any better. I was stupid, and I should have just done a video on changing a nozzle and then did a video on the results of it. But instead, the way I worded the video, I pretty much have to finish the stupid prints out before I can finish my video. Don't you hate that when your video starts out as being just like maybe a 1, maybe 2 day video, and all of a sudden, 3 days later, you're still working on it?
Oh, believe me, my filming schedule right now is all in the toilet. So, yeah. Oh, well.
I know. It's just... I want to get another group printed up because I want to see if I can do one without the layer lines.
So what is your eventual plan for all the groups? I know you want to give one to Josh Got Bored.
Yeah, he's going to be painting up one of them. That's why I'd like to get one more printed up so that he can have a cleaner slate to work with. But I want to give one to Beth. I want to give one to my friend Nelson. He just got a house up north. And he hit me up the other day. He's like, "Hey," he says, that group would make a really nice housewarming gift." So I want to get one printed up for him.
Better get AMZ 3D to rush ship you some more wood filament.
Well, I found one more roll here that I had laying around, so I'm going to use it. It uses almost half a roll, so I don't think I have enough on that roll to print an entire one, but the good thing with a filament sensor on this one, I might be able to just go ahead and let the filament sensor do its job. I love the G-Tech build plates, those super plates.
Oh, yeah.
The only thing I don't like about them is when they cool down because of a pause in the print, because you pause it, everything cools back down. The print releases automatically. So that's kind of a bad thing about them. But with this printer, because it's got the glue on the bed, if the sensor kicks in and it cools down, it's not going to pop the print off. So I'll be good to heat back up and keep printing.
Is it possible to just drop the infill a couple of percentage to get around that?
Probably, because the only part of it that really is dependent on infill is going to be for the top.
I mean, you could even tell the thing to do adaptive infill.
Well, Chuck just showed the other day on his video. He just showed the other day how you can actually change the infill. I could actually go like 5% up to like toward the top of the head, and then take and block off that top part and say that needs to be 10% or something like that. Because usually what I do is I do zigzag. So it looks like it's more infill than it really is. It's instead of printing this way and that way, it does this way, and then on the next layer it goes that way, and then the next layer goes that way, and so on like that.
So I'm thinking if you could just, maybe print like the lower part at like 20%, do the body at 5%, and jump back up to the top at 20%, you could probably easily get away with using a lot less on the spool.
TK, Jimmy, make a bloody mold. That's a good idea, though. Make a mold and be done with it.
I still think it's cheaper and faster to print it, because if you try and cast that thing in solid resin, it would probably self-destruct from the heat produced.
True, probably. Well, let's go ahead and call it.
All right. Well, thanks for tuning in, guys. Sorry if I was a little bit out of it. It's been a stressful couple of days trying to get things done, but things are getting back to normal, so that's good. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you here next time on Jimmy's channel. Same day, same time, all that stuff.
Guys, have a good night. Thank you very much for joining.